What makes an experience an experience? When race days become race weekends, and race weekends become full-throttle memories.
To the checker, baby! Yeah, let's go!
So pull up in your camper, pick your favorite spot, first race or 50th season.
You did just win again. Oh my God!
A community that lives loud, loves hard, and celebrates every damn second.
Roll Tide and welcome to this Tuesday edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. This is Roger Hoover. Great to be with you from our Tuscaloosa studio on this Tuesday afternoon as we have a deep breath from baseball and softball during the midweek. So just getting ready for the weekend coming up for the Crimson Tide on the Diamond as we start to take a look at what's coming up on the show, plus our headlines thanks to our friends RJ Young. RJ Young is the official technology solutions provider of Crimson Drive. Let's see what's coming up on the show this afternoon. First things first, we'll talk baseball with two members of the Crimson Tide baseball team from the LLH Healthcare Advantage Center podcast studio. Talk with Peyton Steele, who has had a huge home run over the weekend against Tennessee, has been in and out of the starting lineup all year, as well as get thoughts from Sam Christiansen, another outfielder on the Crimson Tide who is still trying to work his way back from injury that he suffered in the offseason. Then we'll round out the show by talking golf with the head men's golf coach at the University of Alabama, Jay Seawell, a fun conversation with him from last night's edition of Hey Coach, presented by Alpha Insurance. To our headlines with Alabama softball. Last night, the Crimson Tide wrapping up its three-game series in Knoxville against Tennessee. Now coming up this weekend, the final weekend of the regular season, it's Alabama against South Carolina, Thursday to Saturday at the Rhodes House. Expecting huge crowds for each and every one of those games that we know are the last home games this season in the regular season. But with the way Alabama's played, you can expect some regional and then super regional play in Tuscaloosa with how well Team 30 has performed this season. They'll try and keep it going coming up next week when the Crimson Tide head to Lexington, Kentucky to participate in the SEC tournament. For the Crimson Tide baseball team, last week was a tough one in Knoxville on Friday. On Thursday, very good. Alabama picked up a 12-8 win to start that series against the Vols, but on Friday played a doubleheader, and unfortunately the Crimson Tide were swept in that doubleheader, so as a result going 1-2 in that series against Tennessee that wrapped up on Friday night. So it's been some time for the Crimson Tide to rest and recoup, getting ready for this weekend's games against no midweek contest for the Crimson Tide on Tuesday or Wednesday. So on Thursday, it's Alabama against Vanderbilt, starting a critical three-game series, both teams in a similar spot in the SEC standings. Huge series coming up at Sewell Thomas Stadium. Crimson Tide, despite the two losses against Tennessee, remain ranked in the top 25 poll as Alabama checks in at number 24 in the nation by D1 Baseball. That's a look at our headlines thanks to our friends RJ Young. And one of our good friends out in right field most of the time for the Crimson Tide, saw him in left some over the weekend as well, is Peyton Steele, a native of Decatur, now a sophomore playing for the University of Alabama. He joins us first on Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, to talk about his journey from Hartselle High School to the capstone. Peyton, Roll Tide. How's everything going for you and this Crimson Tide baseball team?
It's going pretty well for us so far. Obviously, this past weekend was a little bit of a disappointing weekend, but with this team, how gritty we are, I think we'll be able to turn things around really quickly in Austin.
And we've been able to see this baseball team turn things around at different points this season. What led to such the good play we saw after a disappointing weekend against Kentucky and then the South Alabama game? What led to the turnaround over the next few weeks?
I think not hanging our heads too much on the series sweep after Kentucky and South Alabama, and just kind of realizing that we still hadn't played our best baseball by then yet. And when Florida and Auburn came around, we eventually got into playing our best baseball, and this past weekend obviously wasn't that way, but we're going to get right back to where we were. I'm not too worried about it.
Are you pretty proud as well when you look back at that time? Coach Vaughn continued to talk about the energy was so good at practice and leading into that first Florida game, even though, again, you may not think it would be that great after the results, but are you proud that this team continued to show great energy and effort despite the results?
Absolutely. I mean, it's so easy to come off a series sweep after Kentucky and, just be in bad moods all around at practice and not being able to push it past us and let that stay behind us, and like the energy at practice after that series, I was like, okay, this team's got it. Like we got what we need. We just got to play our team baseball, and I knew we could, and it happened. So. And some really good things have happened since then. Who have been some of the key leaders in your opinion on this team? Will Plattner. I mean, he's not on the field every day, but I mean in the dugout, he just keeps us keeps the energy up. And some of the freshmen have also stepped up energy-wise. And energy is such a big part of the game. I mean, it just stacks and stacks, like one hit after another, and it just plays. I mean, if there's a dead dugout, it doesn't matter how many home runs you're going to hit. I mean, the other team's always got the advantage. I mean, energy is such a big thing in baseball.
It really is. And again, you've put together a solid season for Alabama going back to the beginning. You've had some key moments really early in the season. Let's first of all go to Game 4 of the season. Alabama's on the road at Samford. A tight ball game. You hit the go-ahead home run. Walk us through that at bat.
The 3 bats before that home run were a little tough, but I think I've matured in a way that I've been able to put past at bats past me and just look to the next one, whatever I can do to help my team. And I was just trying to, get an RBI or 2, and it worked out.
Yeah, that was a big moment for this team, getting that midweek win against Samford, and then an even bigger moment for you the next week when you guys go to Frisco and you're taking on a ranked Oregon State team. And in the 9th inning, you get the play as the fly ball's hit to you and double play happens after. Walk us through that one.
Coach Vaughn says we have a sign that says unafraid to crash and burn. And that was one of those moments where the ball was definitely supposed to go to third base. And I hear Bryce Fowler going, shoot him, Steele, shoot him. And that's just, having trust in your teammates and them having trust in you. And he trusted me to throw it to home. And, that was the difference in the game there.
Did you feel pretty good when you threw the ball?
Oh, absolutely. I'll never forget that. That's for sure.
And then just such a great reaction, too. I imagine from your teammates had to be cool. Alabama fans maybe you saw online and stuff. Just how special was that play?
It was awesome. I actually went to dinner later that night, and there was an Oregon State fan there. And he recognized me by the throw, and he ended up buying me a dessert for it. And, he was a good guy. He was pretty proud of the moment. I mean, obviously his team just lost, but he was excited for me, and he thought it was a pretty good throw himself.
Well, that's really cool. So again, that was a great moment for you early in this season as you're a sophomore now for the Crimson Tide baseball team. Just what's it been like getting to play baseball here at the University of Alabama?
Oh, it's a dream come true. I mean, I actually grew up an Auburn fan. Looked at them a little bit in my younger years in high school, but I'm so happy I ended up at Alabama. I mean, this university, this team, the coaching staff, it's the best in the country.
Family all Auburn?
I got a few aunts and uncles that are all on the Auburn side, but they'll always root for me on the baseball side. Now my mom and dad, they're all Alabama now.
Oh, here you go.
Yeah,
That's really good. Did they get you into baseball? How many other sports did you play growing up?
I played basketball until about 7th grade, and I played football all the way up until high school. I actually started wanting to be a football player, and then I just kind of progressed to be better at baseball, and that worked out. But I did like playing football better. It taught me some toughness that I think baseball couldn't have taught me, and some gritty, and Coach Vaughn loves that, and I think our team is one of the grittiest in the country and the toughest, and which is a huge part of baseball. But yeah, I was happy I got to play football growing up, and there's some athletes out there like baseball players that think it's important to just focus on baseball, but I think I wouldn't be the baseball player I am today without football.
That's really good. When did you start to focus on baseball or start to play it in the summertime, kind of year round?
I started to focus on baseball probably around my 8th grade year. I kind of started talking to Alabama on the phone a little bit, and Auburn and, some other schools. But that's when I kind of realized that, football's fun and it's going to teach me some things, but baseball, might be a little bit more important than football.
Well, and you talk about it being gritty, that you went to the perfect high school program. It's because so many of you guys are ending up at Alabama or other spots around the SEC. Just tell us about your high school baseball experience.
We have such good support at Hartselle High School. I mean, it's awesome. Like, even in the past, like the 90s and the 10s, I mean, Hartselle High School just has a really good foundation and past. So there's even like older players from that 90s team, like Jay Cheatham. He'll come and teach some of our younger kids. He does lessons for them. And our coach, Coach Miles, he's actually the athletic director now. He's not the baseball coach anymore, but he's been my coach since I was 8 years old, and I think that does a lot of things. And not only is he a good baseball coach, he was a good life coach as well. He taught respect and toughness and like the things outside of baseball that matter. So I mean, Hartselle High School was definitely one of the main reasons I'm a good baseball player now.
And I'm sure you guys took a lot of pride in being the best in North Alabama, but you had to love coming down to Birmingham or taking on teams from the Mobile area to get some wins against them. That had to be a point of pride.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, even when we played, lower classification schools and tournaments and stuff, we still made sure that, a win's a win. You got to win. You got to win to be good, and winning's a really important part of Hartselle High School. So like a disappointing year at Hartselle is not winning the state championship. So it's definitely a winning culture over there.
What position did you play there?
Actually, I started third base my freshman year, and then I went to left field, and then I think I played left field for 2 years, and then I transferred over to right field, and that's where I stayed.
And that's where you are now with the Crimson Tide as well. Who are some of your teammates at Hartselle that have kind of been with you as part of this journey here at Alabama too?
Oh, you obviously got Coleman Mizell. I mean, he played a big part in our season last year, and JT Blackwood, who's obviously doing a great job right now pitching on the mound, and JoJo Williamson, who I grew up with and is my roommate now and is one of my best friends. So, great dude.
Yeah, JoJo, it's unfortunate, has been kind of slowed by injury to start this season. And Bull, I'm not sure if we're going to see him this year or not. But those are two guys that are really good baseball players. You've seen them have some of their best moments on the diamond, I imagine.
Absolutely. I mean, in high school, I'll be honest, they were probably better hitters than me. But I do feel bad about JoJo. I think he's one of the hardest workers on the team. And what happened to him in his hand, it's awful. But, sometimes things happen, and he's battling through that right now, and he'll be back stronger.
Yeah, we know he and Coleman Mizell are going to have a good future here as well. So were you all kind of thinking about Alabama at the same time, or did you all have kind of your own individual recruiting journeys too here?
I think Bull committed about a year or so before me, and I kind of texted him, talked to him a little bit about, the coaching staff. And this was prior to the coaching staff we have now. But I looked at that, and he always talked highly of him, and he talked highly of them to me, or of me to them. So, and then JoJo was kind of the reverse way. Like I helped JoJo out with the coaches, and it kind of just trickled down. Even though me and JoJo are the same age, I think JoJo committed about a year after me as well. So it was like 3 years in a row they were getting a new Hartselle player. So yeah.
That's pretty special. So what was it like once the coaching change happened, getting to know Coach Vaughn as well as Coach Papio, Coach Morrison? You knew Coach Jackson from before, but especially the new coaches and what they were telling you about Alabama baseball.
I talked to Coach Papio on the phone for probably about an hour after that coaching change happened, and kind of just got some insight into his mindset, and he got to know me a little better. Coach Jackson was obviously the one who recruited me to Alabama, so I already knew him. And he respected the new coaching staff a lot, and I respected JJ, so I think, respect goes multiple ways, and I love this coaching staff right now. I think it's one of the best in the country.
Yeah, they really are. And again, they seem to pour into you guys, and that really helps your approach, not only at the plate, but defensively as well. Just how much better of a baseball player do you feel now in your second year here?
I mean, even on the diamond, but also in the weight room. I mean, you gotta talk to Coach Price. I mean, he is the best weightlifting coach there is. I mean, he looks after us, but he also pushes us to be our best. And that translates to the diamond. I mean, from a defensive standpoint, Coach Papio emphasizes outfield play and, throws and catches. And we do this thing called perfect game during individual defense where it's just him and us outfielders. And you got to be perfect or else you get a tick mark. And it pushes us to be our best. So this coaching staff it's awesome.
Did it make your job easier getting to go out to right field knowing Bryce Fowler is going to cover a lot of ground in center?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he can fly. And, balls in the right center gap. Obviously, I'm going to try to go get, but I know he's right there getting them for me.
And also part of your job as well is to deliver the baseball to the right field Rangers that would be signed by Coach Vaughn. Just how much fun was that interaction you got to have with all of our students sitting beyond right field? Yeah,
I didn't really know about it until the first game of the year against Washington State, and I read it and I was like, dang, this is pretty cool. So I just tossed it up to a random Ranger every game, and yeah, I think they enjoyed it too.
They do anything fun, like be like, hey, take 2 steps to your left, or like, put your glove next to you, or anything crazy like that?
Oh, yeah. Okay. They'll say some crazy stuff to me out there. It's a lot of left hand this, right hand that things, and they asked me how to build the beer wall because, they said, Steele, you're an engineering major. How can we make this stand up straighter? And, I tried to help them, in between pitchers and innings and stuff like that, and I enjoy it out there. They're awesome.
That's good. So you're an engineering major.
Yes, sir.
That requires you have to have a lot of focus in the classroom and with athletics with a tough major like that, don't you?
Oh yeah, it's certainly tough. The classes aren't very easy, but I get through it.
Anything you might like to do after your baseball career is done?
Oh yeah, I mean, obviously I want to become an engineer, but I think maybe mixing engineering and baseball together, like designing bats or gloves or something like that, would be pretty cool. And besides that, maybe playing slow pitch softball. I've always kind of wanted that. That'd be pretty cool.
Pretty good. I think you do pretty well there. So as this season continues, what's going to be most important for Alabama fans to see from this team as you continue to go through the gauntlet of the SEC and then obviously the postseason and beyond?
I think just playing clean baseball. Obviously, nobody's more upset about these losses than we are. And to the fans, I think they just really need to slow the reins down a little bit. We're gonna come back better than ever. I mean, we're fine. We got UAB tomorrow. We're focused on that right now, and then we'll move to Texas, which obviously is a great team. But I think we can handle it. I think we're one of the best teams in the country.
I agree. Well, we look forward to great things from you, Peyton Steele, and the Crimson Tide moving forward. Just thank you for the time you've given us. All the best. Roll Tide.
Absolutely. Roll Tide.
What makes an experience an experience? When race days become race weekends and race weekends become full throttle memories.
To the checker, baby! Yeah, let's go!
So pull up in your camper, pick your favorite spot, first race or 50th season.
You did just win again. Oh my God!
A community that lives loud, loves hard, and celebrates every damn second.
Sticking with baseball, a conversation with Sam Christiansen. The second time we've had him on the program this spring. He details the hard work he's doing trying to come back from injury that he suffered in the offseason and everything that's coming up for him and the Crimson Tide baseball team the rest of the way here in 2026. Here's our second conversation this spring with Sam Christiansen.
How has the rehab process been as you get closer to your return for Alabama baseball?
Yeah, it's been good. I actually just before this I was running on the field for the first time, so working on running on home to first and some swings and running down the line. So I'm kind of off the zero gravity treadmill and out of the underwater treadmill. So I've had a lot of progressions.
Yeah, what are those things like versus zero gravity and then the underwater?
Yeah,
How long did it take to get used to?
It's always kind of like a day. Like my first day on them is a little difficult, awkward. But then after that, I feel a lot better. And then today, first day running on the ground, I'm hoping it's next day it's a lot better. So that's how I'm thinking. The underwater treadmill, we'd do a bunch of exercises and I'd be in there for an hour. And then I would finish with sprinting underwater and stuff. And then the zero gravity one, it's good because it gives me feedback on my steps and everything like that. So I know my form is good, all that stuff. So I kind of had to graduate from it. And then now it's just on land.
There you go. How about your strength training during all this time? Making sure that everything kind of stays strong, even, parts of your body that weren't affected by the injury.
Yeah. So I was going 5 days a week. I still do 5 days a week at physical therapy. So that's a lot of lower body stuff. And then Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm with Price doing upper body workouts and stuff. So I'm getting basically everything in. And then I've been hitting for the last week and a half. So everything's been good.
That's awesome. That's a really good progression. Has it been kind of hard to stay patient at times with this, or is everyone or you yourself just kind of internally, but at peace with every step of the process?
I mean, whenever the times where I feel frustrated or down or that this is taking forever is when our trainer Sean Stryker comes up to me and shows me the plan for the next 3 weeks or kind of a baseline of what we want. Because then I'll be oh, I thought I was going to be able to play that weekend, but I'm not even running on ground yet. So it's but Stryker's been really good, and my PT, Aaron, has been super good at letting me go. You know what I mean? If my body feels good, they're gonna push me and let me do what I want, kind of thing. And if I have problems the next day, then we'll back it up a little bit. But it's been a lot of just pushing forward and moving past that timeline kind of thing. So it's been good. I mean, my teammates and my friends have been so good for me, so everything's been okay.
We're excited to get you back on the field playing for the Crimson Tide. From your perspective, seeing the last few weeks of SEC play, those back-to-back sweeps of the Gators and the Auburn Tigers, how special has this stretch been for Alabama?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I said this last time I was here. It's everyone was so frustrated online and social media and annoyed. And then the past years they've been frustrated that Alabama can't finish or anything like that. And it's there's not much they can do correct. You know what I mean? So it's been awesome to just see the guys kind of prove some people wrong. And everyone out there is not playing for themselves. They're playing for everybody, and they're playing for that A. They're playing for Coach Vaughn. They're playing for all those coaches. So it's been awesome just for me to sit in the dugout and watch, especially it's a lot of guys first time playing in the SEC and all that kind of stuff. And they're very mature. They got punched in the mouth, and they've just been pushing away and punching back. So it's been awesome to watch. I'm very proud of how these guys have kind of responded from the beginning of the year.
How much fun was the Tyler Fay no-hitter night?
That was awesome. That was like my first day, I think, where I was in a tennis shoe the whole game, and like I was freaking out. Like I knew from like the fifth inning, because I'm standing right next to the coaches, and I remember he came in the seventh, and he was at like 100 pitch or 99 pitches or something like that in the set. Like I don't even know if he had gone out for the seventh yet, and I'm sitting there, and Coach Vaughn and them were like, "We're gonna send him back out." I was like, "Oh crap, they're going for it here." So, and then T-Faye's just calm and collected the whole time, and the guys just went out there and played great defense. So it was just awesome to watch. He really did make it look easy. It's very special to be a part of stuff like that. It's just awesome.
That's really cool. So again, that's everything happening right now with the Crimson Tide baseball team. And the last time you were here, we really talked about your journey to Alabama. So I wanted to dive in on just some baseball specific stuff as we continue our conversation. First of all, I'll leave this as broad as possible. What do you love about hitting?
I think hitting is has like a secret art to it, I guess. I think there's so much time people put into it, but it's like, on the other hand, it's so simple, I guess. Like there's not much to overthink about it. I think it's so difficult to hit a baseball that it's so rewarding to hit a baseball. So it's like kind of like a satisfying feeling that you kind of get addicted to it. And I'm pretty obsessed with it. I love it.
Absolutely. If we take a look at your swing now versus maybe your senior year in high school, what's different?
I think I'm just a lot more physical. Like it's less swing stuff. It's more just like plate discipline and like knowing what pitches I can handle versus like what pitches I used to swing at, stuff like that. I mean, I'm just definitely a lot more smarter and physical, really.
So no like dramatic swing overalls or anything at any point?
I've always had a pretty simple swing. I think when I started getting my first couple years of college, it kind of like shifted a little bit where I had a big leg kick. There's a lot of stuff going on. And then through the years, I've just kind of simplified it as much as I can to put me in the best position to be successful. So,
well, speaking of simplifying, how important is that to simplify your swing thoughts and what you're thinking about
100%.
In the box?
Like if there's a lot of things going through your mind at the plate, there's probably not much you're going to be able to do in that at bat. Like really just being relaxed and calm and breathing and like clear-minded and seeing ball pop out of hand, all that kind of stuff is so important to success, I believe. And if you're busy thinking about past at-bats or past things that happened, it really dictates what you're going to do in that at-bat.
Then how about all the info you guys get on like the pitcher you're going to be facing? How do the coaches kind of break it down in kind of an easy to understand way to keep it as simple as possible when you're up there?
Yeah, they keep it as simple as possible. I mean, it's just like, what's this guy's fastball doing? How many times does he throw it in that certain count? All that kind of stuff. So when you're up at the plate, it's like, if you feel super relaxed because you're like, all right, I know this guy has a lot of jump on his fastball, and if it starts up, it's gonna keep going up, like little stuff like that. So like it gives you like a peace of mind when you step up to the plate, like you feel like you already know this guy. So it helps with confidence and all that stuff. So
that's really cool. So again, that's part of the finer parts of the game with hitting. How about defensively? What do you take pride in with your defense these days?
Yeah, I mean, I think taking pride in my practice reps, I think is very important. Like, especially I just recently moved to the outfield last year, so I didn't have very many reps under my belt. And so every single chance I get to get quality reps and 100% reps, I think that's the biggest help. Like, kids will improve a lot more if they do a lot of 100% reps rather than like doing 100 reps and being gassed and all that stuff. Like kind of just getting to your spot and trying to be as fine as possible with your reps. And then the infield is just like picking a good hop and make it go in the glove.
There you go. Yeah. Of course, we were just in Oklahoma this past weekend. We got to see that wind firsthand, especially the last couple of games of the series. I mean, you mentioned learning how to move to the outfield in that Oklahoma wind. I mean, how tricky are some of the fly balls reads you had in that ballpark?
It was tough. Like, our center fielder was really good at communicating last year, so it helped me out a lot. I also had to battle that sun when it would come out. But like you'll see, and the fences were further back last year. So like sometimes it actually felt like you were playing in a toilet bowl. Like the balls were just like doing a whole ton of crazy stuff. So you just had to make sure you just watch the ball. Like I think when you go to that field, like you cannot take your eyes off the ball because you have no idea what it's going to do. So I think just being able to slow it down and catch the ball made it a lot easier. And then coming to a place like Alabama where it's either blowing straight out or straight in, not like all over the place, it helped me a lot it felt a lot easier for me because that's all I knew in the outfield was balls like that.
It was crazy
Yeah.
at times seeing him go straight and then all of a sudden turning to the right and stuff like that, and some sure home run balls that
Yeah.
seemed like just stayed
Staying
easy
apart.
F7s, you know.
Yeah.
Well, that's really good. So as this team continues, and again, hopefully you'll be back on the field very soon for the Crimson Tide. Just what do you think this group's capable of right now?
I think they're capable of a lot. I think like we went on a little bit of a heater. We're going on a little bit of a heater. We're playing good baseball, and I think we got a taste of what winning feels like and what our standards need to be. And I think as we continue to go forward, like we'll have our ups, we'll have our downs. It's just baseball. Like some people are going to play great, some people are going to struggle a little bit. It's just how the game is. But I'm very happy for this team. Like I'm excited for what we're going to do, and like just keep pushing away.
Can't wait to see it. Sam, thank you for the time once again with us this season on Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. All the best. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
And now we go back to Baumhauer's Victory Grill last night for Hey Coach, presented by Alpha Insurance. At the end of the show, we talked plenty of baseball with Rob Vaughn and Hagen Banks. We'll replay some of that coming up on our Thursday Crimson Drive. But here to close out our Tuesday show, we wanted to replay our conversation with Jay Seawell, the head men's golf coach at the University of Alabama. He joins us to talk about everything he's seen from the Crimson Tide this spring, first from the SEC Championships, and then what's ahead coming up at the NCAA Championships. We also talk about the beautiful golf facility here on campus of the University of Alabama Crimson Reserve, as well as the retirement of the women's golf head coach, Mick Potter. Always a lively conversation with the head coach of the Crimson Tide men's golf team, Jay Seawell. Coach, another year for you at Crimson Reserve, our fantastic practice facility for you and the women's golf program as well. Just now that you're a couple of years into it, recruits continue to see it. What a difference it's made for your program, I imagine.
Well, yeah, for sure on the recruiting end, we're just starting to see the fruits because, we're now, the cycle, whatever. But it really with our players, the player development's what's been been the biggest part of it. So our guys love it. I mean, it is an incredible facility. We're very blessed. It is really cool. And as a crow flies, it's not but about par 5 this way. And so our guys are enjoying it. It is nationwide. It's gone crazy. I think Golf Digest, we gave them the ability to be the first ones to kind of do whatever you want to call that, a drop or whatever. And I think they had 2 million views, which is crazy. And it's nation, and so it's known around all of golf, not just in college golf, because of what it is. And we're really proud of it. Like I said, it's just we're only in a year and a half in there now. Right at 2 years, it'll be 2 years this fall, and so we're just continuing to improve it and make it better, and letting it grow in and all the grass. But it's better than I dare imagined, and we dreamed pretty big too. And so I'm thankful for Greg Byrne and everybody and all the donors that we had to make this possible. And we brought President Moeller came out I guess in March, met the teams, and gave the guys and girls gave him a tour, and he said, "Don't change a thing." He said, "This is incredible." And so that I like getting his endorsement too. So that was really good.
Yeah, when you were first dreaming about this facility, what was most important for you for your players to have at this facility? And now you've gotten to see it again for the last year and a half.
Yeah, I think there's two things. First, the proximity, which is unbelievable, just because you're with school and all of that. We're a mile from campus. But the other part was, how do you simulate golf? Everybody can go to a driving range. You can go hit on a range and hit a ball and all that, and say that 7-iron was pretty good. Well, how do you know it didn't? Where did it land? How far did it go? And things like that. And so we built the entire facility. Even the holes that we have are built so that we can simulate what golf really happens in a round, and we can practice those things. If we're not doing par 5s, well, I can go out and do par 5s, simulations and stuff like that. You can't do that on a golf course because there's people behind you, in front of you. So that's where it's been the most, where guys can actually go and work on things on a golf course, on the golf course, that happen on a golf course without being in the way of people who are playing on a golf course. So that would probably be the biggest thing we've had.
And then how about some of the Alabama pros that come back and get to see the facility? What do they say?
Oh, they're on that. It's been great because Lee Hodges, Davis Riley, Robbie Shelton, Trey Mullinax, and I'm probably going to Nick Dunlap was just here this last weekend on the way down to New Orleans. They all come, and those first 4 guys, live within proximity. 3 of them live in Birmingham, 1 lives in Huntsville. They come when they're in town just because of what we just talked about. They can practice and do things like Davis Riley even said, "I've been struggling with my driver." He goes out and works on his driver on the golf course and things like that. And so they've been very supportive, very excited about it, and then also been using it too, which helped me. I would say gives it that rubber stamp that it's been, it was worth what we did.
Yeah, incredible work done for the facility for the men's golf team as well as the women's golf team. And that brings me to women's golf head coach Mick Potter, retiring after this season. You've gotten to work side by side with him for many, many years here in Tuscaloosa. What a run he put together.
Yeah, 21. I've known Mick for over 40 years. I was a high school kid. He was coaching at Furman, and I was looking at being recruited by Furman a little bit when I was in high school. And so I met him a little bit there and known him for a long time. And he, I got the news while we were on the road, and then he was on the road. I actually only saw him today. It was the first time I'd seen him since the news came out. We talked on the phone and we did some stuff. As I told him, I'm happy for him because, he's earned the right to do what he wants to do. But he's such a great coach, and he's helped me tremendously in my career with our guys. And, we bounce ideas. And, I think our sport coexists more than any of the other, men's and women's sports. We practice at the same time. Men's and women's basketball aren't on the court at the same time. We are. We chip and putt together. We do things together. And so he's been amazing. And if you really look what he did here and compared to what we've been to one NCAA before he got here. He went to like 18, in 21 years, won a natty, lost in a final that he should have, they should have won. I was there. That little girl shouldn't have done that, but that girl hit a great shot. That's fine, whatever. But what he did, the players he brought in, what they did in the classroom and all, it's going to be hard to replace him. That's for sure. And I'm sad because he's a good friend, and I'm excited to see what he wants to do moving on. I think he'll stay in golf, though. I think it'll be just in a little bit more of a, smaller role than being the head coach at a SEC at Alabama.
And you mentioned a national championship. That was right around the time you won back-to-back national championships.
Right.
Now with a little bit of distance, how special was that era of golf here?
Unbelievable. Our girls, their girls and our guys, really, they're still friends. I mean, Emma Talley and all those people are talking to our guys. We did a lot together. We had, you start looking at the 10 or 12 players, our 5 or 6, they're 5 or 6 that were here and what they've done post-college too, and what they did in college. It was amazing time. I'll wait for me to get a little bit further down the road before I look too far back and go, that was awesome, because I'm still dreaming forward. But to look back, I'm very proud of those times. Our partners are called the 12-13 Club because he won in 12 and we won in 13. And so, and we played in the Natty in 12. I wish we'd have won it dadgummit in the final, because it would have been really cool, because I don't really know how many men's or women's teams have won the national championship at the same time in the same year. But he's a special coach that brought special girls here, and he's one of the reasons the Crimson Reserve is built also. And so I don't know what to do. I've been here 24 years. I'm going to be the first time I've had to get used to somebody new down the hall, because like I said, we coexist. So I'm sure Greg will do a great job and get us someone that'll continue to do what Mick has done in the past.
Last night, Hey Coach started our week of programming here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network, but now let's see what's coming up the rest of the weekend. Spoiler, we are going to be busy on Thursday through Saturday. That's because we have both baseball and softball coming up starting on Thursday. Don't forget we have another edition of Crimson Drive driven by NASCAR coming your way at 2 o'clock on Thursday. Then both baseball and softball are at home and at the same time, as you'll see, for all 3 games over the weekend. So maybe go to one and keep the Varsity Network app open on an earbud, sitting in the stands at one or the other places, Sewell Thomas Stadium or Rhodes Stadium. Alabama baseball against Vanderbilt this weekend. Softball team taking on South Carolina, 6 on Thursday, 6 on Friday, 1 o'clock on Sunday to wrap it up. This past week's edition of Hey Coach was the last one we have this year, so after this, outside of some game programming, the only show that we'll have active on the Crimson Tide Sports Network will be Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, coming your way each Tuesday and Thursday at 2 p.m. Central on all CTSN social media platforms. All of those are listed just below. Make sure you go ahead and hit subscribe, especially on YouTube. Turn notifications on so you don't miss anything from us here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. And that's going to wrap up this Tuesday edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. Huge thank you to our guests Peyton Steele and Sam Christiansen from Alabama Baseball, as well as the men's golf head coach Jay Seawell for his thoughts on the Crimson Tide and everything coming up this spring for Alabama golf. Special thanks as well to John Lasseter, as always on content team at the LLH Healthcare Advantage Center at our podcast studio for producing those interviews. And thanks as well to all of you for watching. This is Roger Hoover saying thanks again on this Tuesday afternoon. Have a great rest of your week. So long and roll tide.